Warning, the following video may contain adult language and themes. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you have a problem with this, stop playing this video now. So I just got done watching a movie called Doomsday. It was released in 2008, rated R. I believe it was the unrated version. So if you want the same experience I had, then you'll need to watch the unrated version. Excuse me. So yeah, it was released in 2008, and I had heard a few things about this movie. I heard that the same director that directed this, Neil Marshall, also did The Descent, which I really liked, and he also did Dog Soldiers, which I also really liked. I haven't seen anything else he's done, but that's for 3 for 3. Oh, I said too much. So I guess I just admitted I like this movie. But yeah, it was directed by Neil Marshall. Stars Rhona Mitra. That sounds familiar, but I'm not really sure where I heard that actress from. I think she was, yeah, she's the main character. And it starred Bob Hoskins, who obviously I know probably most from Roger Rabbit. And it stars, let's see who else it starred. I don't think I recognized anybody else, or they were not really that big name of actors. I recognize some of them, but those are the main ones, I think. How would I describe this movie? Under Internet Movie Database, it's categorized as action sci-fi thriller, which is pretty accurate. This movie, how would I summarize this movie? This movie is like an amalgamation of 1,000 other different movies. Not 1,000, that's an exaggeration. Like a whole bunch of different movies. What would I say this is an amalgamation of? Well, it's definitely was inspired by Escape from New York. That's obvious. I also saw hints of Aliens in there. I also saw hints of 28 Days Later. I also saw hints of Army of Darkness. I also saw hints of Death Race 2000. I also saw hints of some people said Braveheart, which I guess. What else? The Road Warrior. So this movie is just a clusterfuck of 1,000 other different movies. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. And probably most notably is Escape from New York. Now, the plot summary is that there's this virus. I can't remember what it's called. You know, I'm kicking myself because I already forgot what it was called. But there's this virus that outbreaks, and it doesn't really turn people into zombies. At least I don't think. It just kills you. You get all these boils all over your face, and you just die. And I think it transmits through like fluids. I don't think it transmits through the air. I think it's just fluids. But and so it's this, and there's no cure, and so it breaks out in Glasgow, Scotland, and they basically gate off the entire I think area of Glasgow, Scotland, and they put like a wall around it, and so you can't escape. So all the infected people, basically the government's just gonna ride this out, let all the infected people just die off, and hopefully the virus goes away. And during this whole scuttle, a little girl and her mother are seen trying to escape Glasgow, Scotland, and the mother doesn't escape, but the little girl does. And before the little girl escapes, she like loses an eye or something. She gets like there's an explosion, she loses one of her eyes, but the little girl escapes, but the mother stays behind in Glasgow, Scotland. She can't escape, and so it's years later. And we're introduced to the little girl who has become basically a SWAT team member, I think. And she has like an eye patch. And so I like to point out the similarity between Escape from New York. Because I think Kurt Russell's character also had an eye patch. So it's almost like they're not even trying to hide the fact that they're kind of ripping off Escape from New York. So already we can see the influences of 28 Days Later and Escape from New York. And so she's part of this SWAT team, and I think they take down like these people smugglers or something. And this movie is also really violent. Of course, I did watch the unrated version, so I don't know if the theatrical rated version was as violent. But it surprised me with how violent it was. It's definitely not the most violent movie I've seen, but it's kind of up there. It's like in the lower tier of the most violent movies I've ever seen. It's lower, but it is some in that category. And so yeah, she and her partner like take out these people smugglers on the ship and like kill them all, and her partner gets killed, and it's a pretty gruesome manner. And Bob Hoskins, I think, is like her boss or something. I think he's like the sheriff, or I don't know what the term is for over in Europe. I think it's like constable or whatever. Bob Hoskins is her boss, and it's revealed that yeah, she has a fake eye, and in the opening scene she wears the eye patch, which obviously harkens to Kurt Russell's character in Escape from New York. But later on in the movie, she just completely loses the eye patch, and we just see and she has like a fake eye, but it looks 100% realistic. Like, so the actress who plays her doesn't have to have this fake prosthetic eye because it blends right in. So, and she can use her eye, she can take out her eye from her head and use it as like a camera, and she can record stuff off it. It's pretty nifty. And so, basically, the Prime Minister, they get word, they're monitoring Glasgow, Scotland. Like, they have ships that fly over ever so often to take pictures and see what's going on there with the virus. And I think they find out that there are survivors. So there's like, wow, there must be a cure. They must have found a cure, or else they would have all died off by now. And so, they say that's interesting. And then, like, somehow the virus escapes from Glasgow, Scotland, and comes onto the mainland. And they're like, oh shit. It's like, well, if there's a cure, we need to find it because we've lost containment. And so there's this whole thing where they send in this girl with a team. So this is where it sort of turns into Aliens. They send her in with this team of Marines. It's like, check it out. I was waiting for Bill Paxton to come up and be like, check it out. Bill. She sends with these Marines, and they even have these like these ATVs. I don't know what the word is. Like, how like they had in Aliens that huge ass armored vehicle. They break out two of these huge ass armored vehicles, which is just screams Aliens to me. And they go in with SWAT and stuff, and the Prime Minister, I don't think it's the Prime Minister, I think it's his like right hand man. He like briefs her, and he's like, if you don't find a cure, then don't bother coming back out. And I'm like, oh wow, they're motivated then. So they send them in, and basically no one's allowed to leave Glasgow, Scotland. Like, they monitor it 24/7. They have like these drone guns, just like constantly watching. And if anything moves, like a little bunny, like they demonstrate like a little bunny moves, and it just zaps the bunny. So like any of the infected that try to get out immediately get killed. So they send her in there with his team. So already we're ripping off like, Escape from New York, 28 Days Later, what else? Aliens. And so they get in there. And they're searching the labs because there was a doctor, I think, who got locked in there in Glasgow, Scotland, who was working on a cure, but they like lost contact or something. So they get in there and they're looking through everything, the rubble, and they're going through all these laboratories, and then they get attacked by all these cyber. They look like S&M punks. Like, the Glasgow, Scotland, since the isolation, has just turned into like this S&M punk like heaven. Like, there's all these like guys with spiked hair, and there's like, they even have a gimp in a gimp suit, and they got like, and the SWAT team, with the girl in it, just start picking them off one by one. They just break out the guns and they're just mowing them down. And these like S&M punks have like no fear, like of guns. They'll run up you and try to kill you, and you'll shoot them, and they'll just keep coming. They don't care. And from what I could tell, they're not zombies, though. Let's make that clear. They're not zombies. And here's the thing about the virus. I think the virus, like, is such a deus ex machina. It's such a MacGuffin. Like, just this, like, once they get inside, like, they don't mention the virus for a long time. It just becomes Escape from New York, where they're just trying to fight off all these goons. And, yeah, there are some, that's one thing I'll say about this movie, is that this movie has really good action sequences. Really good. Much better. This movie looks great. It looks like it had a really good budget. It looks like these people knew how to create a post-apocalyptic world. It looks great. One thing I didn't like about this movie, though, is the setup. Because we're to assume that before the virus outbroke and they sealed off the city, this place, that everything was normal. So I found it hard to believe that once they seal off this place, that everybody just becomes insane and just becomes cannibals. Yeah, they're cannibals too. They're S&M steampunk cannibals. Everybody's just like insane. I found that hard to believe. These people are normal one minute, and you seal them off, and then the next minute they're just completely off the wall. I didn't buy it. It would have made more sense if they were just if the premise were different, like, crime has overridden the future, and so they just throw all these the prisoners and villains and maniacs into this fortified area, and that'd be just as believable, if not more believable, and they just have to have some reason to go in there or something. But which I think that was actually the real plot from Escape from New York. I'm probably wrong, but I hardly remember anything about that. But yeah, they try to change it up with this whole virus thing, and it just doesn't work. because I don't know. And so they go in there, and a lot of the soldiers get killed off, obviously, and the girl gets captured, and she gets taken prisoner by all these steampunks. Like, they're so overacting and hammy, and they're just crazy ass guys, and it's just so weird, because it's like, where are all the normal people? Even people. There would be some normal people left. I mean, I know some people may crack because of the virus and the fact that they're isolated, but there would be some normal people who would be survivalists, who would just remain normal and not become like S&M punks, But no, everybody is that way. And so this girl gets captured, and she finds out, she finds out, she escapes, and she escapes with this girl who's actually the daughter of the doctor who's working on the cure. So she gets the girl to take her to the doctor, and the doctor's played by Malcolm McDowell. Oh, that's another name in this movie, Malcolm McDowell. And then it turns into like Army of Darkness, because Malcolm McDowell, the doctor, is like, lives in the countryside away from the steampunk city, and they live like the Middle Ages. Like, it's like when the outbreak happened and they got sealed in there, it's like they raided the museums and just took all the like plate mail and armor and fucking shields and swords. Like, they don't have any guns. They have bows and arrows, they have chainmail, they have axes, and they live in like this castle. It's like, where the fuck did this come from? So yeah, and then I think this is the part where people say it's like Braveheart. But I thought it was more like Army of Darkness, because, this girl who goes to see this doctor, and they have guns. They have fucking guns. So it's like it's almost like they go back in time, which they don't, but it's like they do. And it turns out there is no cure. I'm getting into spoilers here, but whatever. You should still watch this movie. But it turns out there is no cure, and that these people have just built up an immunity because the weak died off, and through evolution they built up an immunity. I think I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to spoil anymore. But from there, it kind of turns into Death Race 2000 and The Road Warrior, and you should watch the movie to just get the rest of the movie. I'm not going to spoil much more from there. But I liked this movie. But how I would describe this movie, it's the sum of the parts is weaker than the individual parts. Like, when you're watching this movie and you're in the moment, it's really good. Like, there are some really, really good action sequences, really good car chases, really good fight sequences. There's a lot of gore, like a lot more gore and violence than I was expecting, which I like, especially in a movie like this. There's a lot of good car chases. The main girl protagonist I thought she was a really good badass. She's a badass in this. I mean, they don't sexualize her at all. Like, this is almost a rarity, because most female protagonists are sexualized a lot, and they're kind of seen as weak at sometimes. But this girl, like, she's a badass. She's a straight up badass, and they don't really sexualize her that much. I liked her. She was pretty good. But I didn't like the setup. I thought the virus was a cheap way to set things up, and it was just a MacGuffin. We didn't see it very much. It was kind of pushed in the back, like halfway through the movie. When we're into like Escape from New York and Army of Darkness, they like cut back to the outside world where the virus is running rampant, and like we're like, oh yeah, there's a virus. I forgot about that. You know what I mean? I was too busy watching Army of Darkness and Escape from New York. So yeah, the virus really does take a backseat and seems like a cheap way to set up the whole movie. Also, when the girl gets captured by the S&M punks, when they first get into Glasgow, Scotland, there's this really surreal moment where it becomes almost comedic, and it kind of breaks the momentum and breaks the tension, where like the leader like gets up on the stage and starts dancing with all these like guys in like skirts, plaid skirts, like how Scotsman people wear, and they do this whole like crazy routine where like they have these like dancers and stuff, and it's all goofy, and it's like, where did this come from? So I mean, it really threw off the momentum, and there's really no other moment in the movie like that where it's goofy and just tongue-in-cheek. And another really gruesome moment is they actually roast one of the SWAT members that they captured and eat him. It's probably not as bad, it's not as gory as you might think, but it's still pretty jarring. So yeah, this movie is pretty good. Best way I can describe it is it's just dumb fun. Like, it truly is just dumb fun. It's an amalgamation of a whole bunch of different other movies, and and you could call it a ripoff, but it's at least a decent ripoff. Best way to describe it, for one last time, is the sum of the parts Like, the whole movie is not as good as the individual parts. But so yeah, that's my review of Doomsday. Really liked it. Highly recommend. I'm thinking of giving it a 6.6 to 6.7. Just because there are some problems, but chances are I was not disappointed. I do not regret watching this movie. It's pretty it's pretty good, but there are some dumb parts. Anyway, take it easy. Talk to you later. Bye.